This is a video my boys have been wanting me to make for a while, and it's on firearm safety. A lot of people out there, because stuff is really unsure, a lot of people are getting into firearms and maybe they haven't had proper training. I'm a firm believer that if you're going to own a firearm, you should know how to use it and to use it properly and safely. Safety is key. Firearms do not have to be dangerous. Firearms can be very safe, but they're only as safe as the person who is handling them. There are a lot of rules surrounding firearms, but there are just a few basic ones that every single person should know. And so to illustrate the fact that even a child can understand safety, I have Judah here, and he is my youngest son, youngest of 4, and he's going to go over just the 4 basic safety rules that everybody should know before they even think about handling a firearm. So Judah, take it away.
Children should never touch a gun unless there was an adult present. Second rule, treat every gun as it's loaded. Third rule, don't ever point it at anything that you don't want to destroy. And fourth rule, don't ever hold the trigger until you're ready to shoot.
All right, very good. Good job, Judah. Everybody should understand those things. So this, and I'm going to ask you to move just a little bit to the side here. All right, you can still stay there. Right? This is a very common weapon in today's day and age. A lot of people call it an assault rifle. It is not an assault rifle. It is an AR-15, and that AR does not stand for assault rifle. It's Armalite rifle, and that's just the company that designed them. Tons of companies sell them now, and people can build them and stuff like that, and they are legal to own. So this is a very common weapon here. It's an AR-15 chambered in a round called 5.56. Now we're going to follow all of those rules. We're going to treat every firearm as though it's loaded. So even though this firearm is unloaded, all right, we're going to treat it as though it's loaded. And we actually have a magazine here because I'm going to show you how to safely do this. This magazine has dummies in there. You should always use snap caps or dummy rounds for any type of what they call dry fire training. Just for safety's purpose, don't ever mess around loading and unloading live ammo in your house or even out in your backyard or anything like that. You should only use live ammunition if you are at a firearm range and you can use it safely and you know where everyone is and how to do it safely. So but we're gonna follow these rules. So we're treating this as though it's loaded. We're not going to point it at anything that we don't want to destroy, which means at no point am I going to be pointing this at my house, a neighbor's house, you know, a bird, a dog, nothing like that. We're never going to point it at anything we don't want to destroy. All right, and then we always want to keep our finger off the trigger unless we are ready to actually fire, okay? So those are really important safety rules. So as I said before, this is something called an AR-15. This is a rifle. It is a semi-automatic rifle, okay? And you can, you know, learn an awful lot about this. You can learn everything you need to know, but this is not the type of rifle that you pull the trigger and it just keeps firing until you're out of ammo. Nothing like that, okay? This is what they call a semi-automatic. So this firearm, there are several different components, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about those components and how to handle it safely and just very basic firearm handling. So first of all, I told you we have a magazine. A lot of people call magazines clips. That is not true. This is a clip, okay? This is what is known as a stripper clip. So Judah, I'm going to have you hang on to that because this firearm does not use it. It uses magazines, again, dummy rounds in there, okay? If you ever pick up a firearm or if someone hands you a firearm, the very first thing that you want to do is you want to clear that firearm. In other words, you want to make sure that that isn't loaded because remember, we treat every firearm as though it's loaded. So if someone were to hand me this rifle, the very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to clear it. The way to clear it is you pull this little doohickey back. I'll tell you what it is in just a minute. You pull that back and you look down through. There's nothing in the chamber. Obviously, there's no magazine in here. All right, and so you're good to go. Now, at that point, if you are at the range or something like that and you want to load this, then you take your magazine and you can load it a number of different ways. You can load it pointing down, and of course there's a sling, okay? So the sling might get in your way depending on what you want to do. You can lift it up, you can do whatever. We're not going to worry about loading it today. All we're going to do, we're going to put the magazine in, and I want to show you what it looks like whenever you do this so that you can be very safe. And because I have my assistant here, he would like to place this in. Now again, firearms can be very safe, okay, but you have to handle them safely. All right, so we have this magazine loaded with nothing but dummy rounds. You can tell there's a little hole there. These aren't bullets, these are a solid piece of metal. Very, very wise investment, dummy rounds, if you want to do some training with these things without getting dangerous. So we've got a magazine, and what we're going to do is we're going to put it right in here. This is called the magazine well, all right? And the magazine only goes in one way. Don't try to put it the other way or anything like that. Don't try to load a different magazine in. Only an AR magazine works. And there are two different ARs. There's an AR-15, which is this.
And an AR-10.
And an AR-10, which is a larger version, okay? Those magazines are not interchangeable, okay? There are several different variants. We're not going to worry about all that stuff. This is just basic stuff in case you've never had any firearms training at all. So, Jude, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and place that in the magazine well for me. Shove it all the way in. All right, slam it. Nope, slam it. All right, there. So it's in there. So whenever you actually load these, okay, you put that in, always pop it up, okay? So now, here are the components, all right, of this firearm. This thing right here, this little doohickey, as I called it before, it has a name. That name is a charging handle, okay? And some charging handles only work on one side or the other, okay? This is what they call an ambidextrous charging handle. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull it back, and this little metal thing actually falls down when you do that. And then whenever you pull it back, you let it go all the way forward, okay? And then this little button here, that's called the forward assist, and you can either press it with your thumb or you can hit it like that. They're made to be hit pretty hard, okay? And so what you've done is you have loaded around. The charging handle slams the bolt forward into the chamber. That round is in there, okay? Now, if you are ever unsure, all right, if you actually, this is the magazine release, all right? The magazine release, you can actually see that the bullets are on a different side here, so you actually know that that round was loaded. Now, if you have loaded this, then the next thing that you want to do is you want to put the firearm on safe, which it already is on safe, all right? Now, you can actually see here, it says fire, and it says safe. I don't know if you can actually see that. Boop. All right, there we go. It says fire, it says safe, all right? You cannot put these rifles on safe unless you have charged the rifle, okay? Once you pull the trigger, then you can't put it on safe. It stays on fire. Now, this little lever right here, okay, this is an ambidextrous lever. There's one on this side, one on this side, so you can operate it with your thumb here or your thumb on the other side. Some people actually use this hand or something like that. You don't need to worry about that, okay? All you need to know is this little thing. A lot of people call it a safety. It is called a fire selector switch, okay? That fire selector switch needs to look like that to be on safe. Now, this little thing that came down here whenever we charged it, whenever we loaded around, that is called the dust cover. Some people call it the ejection port cover, okay? Same thing. All it does is it keeps dust, dirt, mud, debris from entering your bolt or entering your chamber, because if you don't maintain these rifles, they don't fire, okay? So, we have our firearm loaded with dummy rounds. We're not going to lift it up. We're not going to point it at anybody. We're not going to point it, you know, at ourselves or anything like that, okay? Safety first. So if you were getting ready to fire this, then you would have to move your fire selector switch to fire. Now, the best way to do that is with your thumb. And if you use your thumb right here, you just flip it like that, and it flips up to fire. And then you can use your finger and select it on the other side. Fire, safe, all right? So, if we are ready to shoot, then what we would do is we would move this to fire, and then we would pull the trigger, And since we have a dummy round in here with a snap cap, it's actually designed to safely fire without live ammunition in it. All you do, pull the trigger, and that's it. Now, to illustrate my point, after you pull the trigger, there's a fire control group inside here between these two pins, okay? And you cannot put that back onto safe until another round is chambered. Now, since this is semi-automatic, if that was a live round in there, then what would happen is the bolt would come back inside here, not this part, not the charging handle. The bolt would come back and it would actually flip this ejection port open, and the empty casing would shoot out, and then it would slide back in, taking another round from the chamber.
Magazine.
So just to illustrate that, I'm going to show you what it would look like right here, okay? So it'll come out, watch yourself, don't get hit. Just like that. And then another round would go right back in. And that's exactly how this firearm is designed to work, all right? Now, if you're done shooting, then of course what you want to do, put that right back on safe, okay? Now, to show you how to unload this rifle, all right, this right here is the magazine release. And with the magazine release, you press that button with your trigger finger and the magazine falls out. I'm gonna hand that back to my assistant here. Now, if you are done shooting and your magazine is empty, then what happens is the bolt stays in the rearward or the backward position, okay? And so we're gonna pull this other dummy round out, and from here, all right, you can actually, there's a bolt catch right here. Now, if you've shot your last round and you're changing your magazine, let me see that magazine, please. Thank you. All right, now let's say you're empty and you want to reload your magazine. You get your other magazine, again, nothing but dummy rounds in there, all right? Get your other magazine, pop it up in there, okay? And from there, you press this little button right there. That's your bolt release, and from there, your bolt fires forward, slams, another round in, you are good to go. So, remember, safety first. If you want to purchase a firearm or use a firearm, I highly recommend taking a course. I highly recommend getting some type of certification and learning how to safely handle the weapon before you even think about shooting it. All right, this is not a toy. This is a weapon, and so there's a lot of people out there who are really scared. Scared people and guns do not mix very well, okay? So your best bet is to educate yourself fully before even purchasing a firearm. And then getting a certified instructor, maybe to meet you at the range or something, and give you some training on how to use it properly. And then really spend some time with it and learn how to operate your firearm properly. So we're going to do a few more videos like this. We're going to show you a couple handguns. We're also going to show you a shotgun. And again, the purpose is to show you how to safely handle all of these weapons and how to properly use them so that you don't hurt yourself or hurt anybody else. So I hope that you have a great day. Hope you enjoyed this. Take care and God bless.